Obama, the charismatic, young, fresh breath of air, who would sweep in change. Well, for the most part, right? We'll be saying farewell to our 40th president this January 20th, so let us look back and reflect on his legacy. Obama was sworn into office on January 20th, 2009. He defeated his Republican opponent, John McCain, back in November and now had many challenges ahead of him. The 2008 recession had just begun and things weren't looking good for the country at the moment. The country had just elected its first black president. Well, half black, who was raised by white grandparents in Indonesia and later a white area. But still, he looked black. And this man had promised change. Never mind he had taken over $2 million in campaign donations from the very people who caused the need for change. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Now, Obama is not all bad. He did save us from the Great Recession and turned it into the Great Depression 2.0. He made major financial cutbacks to wasteful government spending. He helped implement the Dodd-Frank bill, which his purpose was to make changes to the American financial regulatory environment that affected all financial regulatory agencies in almost every part of the nation's financial services industry. Of course, that bill was not perfect. Too big to fail institutions have not disappeared. Big banks are even bigger, small banks are fewer, and the financial system is less stable. Meanwhile, the economy remained in shambles for many years afterward, and it failed to truly punish Wall Street, and instead gave the slap to Main Street, not to mention the numerous loopholes and amendments making the bill weaker, implemented by the Republican majority in Congress. The bill in its entirety is not all bad. It does do some good, but not nearly enough to fully prevent what it was intended for. You'll see this pattern a lot for most of Obama's major accomplishments. It does some good, but not nearly enough. Now, let us look at his crowning achievement, the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare. This was actually one of Obama's first major achievements. It was the U.S. attempting to finally catch up with the rest of the Western world and forming a public-funded health program to ensure health care for all. Emphasis on attempt. There were originally proposals for a totally publicized system, or a universal health care program with the option to opt out. However, in the end, the Democrats, who at the time still held the majority in Congress, decided to compromise and give us the Obamacare. A crapshoot of a bill that failed to truly fix the issue, was first proposed by the Nixon administration, and benefited the private insurance companies greatly. Now again, the bill was not all bad. It did give free, affordable health care to millions who would not otherwise have it. But it just wasn't enough. And now it's not looking good with many people, even on the left, complaining, large insurance company contributors pulling out, and more. Finally, we get towards the end of Obama's first term, and really see how he handles foreign policy. He makes the decision to finally pull out of the costly wars in the Middle East. But then the Arab Spring erupts, literally and metaphorically. Revolutions to overthrow current governments spark all around the Arab world. Obama and NATO forces aid rebels to overthrow Gaddafi, the dictator of Libya at the time. Because as we learned from Bush in Iraq, going into Arab countries to overthrow the current dictator, creating a power vacuum, never creates more problems, and is always a quick and easy operation that never leads to a long, deadly civil war. No, never. And Obama starts the long, unending drone strike campaign that has killed thousands of civilians and many desert ninjas, and has been accused of creating more terrorists. Now we get into Obama's second term. He definitively defeated Mitt Romney in the general, and now looked forward to continuing his productive legacy. And for the first half of his second term, it was mostly just that. However, with a Republican-held Congress, little was being passed. But much took off in 2015. The Iran nuclear agreement was accepted and seemed to have quelled concerns of Iran becoming a nuclear state, amongst much controversy. Obama negotiated the world's largest trade agreement, TPP, which lowered the cost of imports, however, much like NAFTA, at the cost of thousands of American jobs. Damn. I had all my friends have been laid off from my factory job. I can't support my family or myself. But hey, now I can buy this reversible USB made by Taiwanese sweatshop children. For only $3? This is a great deal. Obama's final big achievement was the Paris Climate Agreements, at which he negotiated a broad environmental and carbon emission reform with most of the international community. Obama truly was a mixed bag. He oversaw job growth, but also saw the growth of wealth inequality. Civil rights progress for the LGBT community hit the highest racial tension since the 60s. He improved relations with Europe, but created worse relation tension with Russia since the Cold War. In my personal opinion, he was neither terrible nor great, just another president.